Welcome to the Marketing Guides for Small Business podcast. I'm Jen Kelly, your host today, and I'm joined by Ken, Ian, and Paul. Today's episode is all about holiday promotions. When we think of holiday promotions, what comes to mind for most of us are B2C or other consumer-facing promotions. And this makes sense. For retailers, the holiday season truly is the most wonderful time of the year, with many retailers making a good percentage of their annual sales in the last few weeks of the year. However, many B2B companies do not run promotions tied in with the holidays, as the sale of their goods and services are more aligned to corporate budgets or other milestones. But what if B2B businesses are leaving money on the table by sitting on the sidelines during the holidays? Let's discuss holiday promotions for B2B businesses, what's worth it, what's not, and how non-consumer focused businesses can make the most of the holiday season. So with that, Ian, I want to start with you. Back us up here and talk through your opinion of why holiday promotions can be difficult for B2B businesses and maybe why they stay clear of the holidays.
Sure. Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. Hold the phone, people. Actually, my corporate experience prior to starting my business was in a lot of B2B businesses, and some of them served other businesses that served consumers. So it was kind of an intermeshing of the two. But one of the things I always found was I think B2B businesses do leave money on the table. I think because in a lot of B2B businesses, they shut down, or a lot of people take vacation time. Half of December for some businesses, especially on the B2B side, it seems half of December is kind of a write-off. They're like, well, we'll push as hard as we can up till December 15th, and then we'll look to the new year for results. But the businesses I've been in and the clients I've had that really understand that every business buyer is a consumer, that every business buyer is a person, and that a lot of people get into the holiday spirit. They see these promotions on the B2C side. I think that if you do understand that it's behavioral, that it's people focused, I think you can actually generate some really neat conversations. You can push business through this year that you might not have attained. So what I mean by that is, in a lot of the businesses I worked in, I was on the marketing side. We had sales teams, a lot of them that really understood how to get the most out of your team and how to get the most sales, and was to promote things between, we'd probably be looking at between October and the end of the year, was to finish the year as strong as possible. And internally, there was a lot of kind of holiday promotion or end of year promotion to incentivize the teams in order to help promote greater sales. And so I think that's something that's lost a little bit, especially in smaller businesses, because, if you don't have a big enough team, you kind of miss out on people that can be incentivized. If you as the business owner are the one that's doing most of the maybe sales calls or business development. But yeah, I think there's opportunity. I think maybe the reason why a lot of B2B stays clear of it is it's different from what they're used to, right? Like, not a lot of B2Bs focus on seasonality to some level, even though they should, because there's opportunity that could be found there. So I think, if you did some creative thinking, if you did pre-planning, because yes, companies that, all of the promotions that we see out in the world, that are targeting us as consumers, a lot of the thought process, a lot of the strategic work that went into the preparation of that happened months and months ago. And so to really do it well, you should be thinking about this stuff at the very least by the end of the summer, if not sooner, as part of your larger marketing plan.
Yeah, good points there. Absolutely. Paul, how can holiday promotions be beneficial for B2B businesses? I mean, they're bigger budgets and longer decision-making times. So that stuff doesn't stop during the holidays, though. What do you think?
Well, yeah, they might have money left over in their budget that needs to be spent so their budget doesn't get cut next year, because that's how they work.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, apparently the holiday season starts in June now. Get earlier every year.
At least at Costco.
Everywhere. Saw a commercial for Christmas trees like 6 months ago.
Wow.
But and Ian touched on some of this, that I think a lot of times B2B companies get in this mindset that they're dealing with another business, which you are, but you're dealing with a person at that business. And that person is just like anybody else. So I would say focus on mobile this day and age, and keep in mind, like I said, that you're dealing with other people, so you can have coupons, you can you can do videos. Videos are huge, but send out emails with an embedded video. And yeah, a lot of businesses go on vacation, but they may shut down, but that doesn't mean that the person you're dealing with is completely gone. They're probably still going to respond to emails and texts and phone calls. And there's probably less competition because a lot of B2B marketers don't do anything during the holidays. So just the fact that there's not a lot of competition in that area can be beneficial.
Yeah, so, some breathing room in there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, B2B, I think if you're a B2B business and you're not taking advantage of what can be done during the holidays, I think you're leaving money on the table.
Well said.
Can I give an example? Like, Paul,
yeah.
something, Ken's shaking his head, but I'm going to do it anyways, Ken.
I don't know. Can you or may you?
Yes, sir, you can. Please go ahead.
So when Paul was talking about that, it just tweaked a reminder that when I was a buyer corporately of marketing automation software, in a lot of businesses, like in the one I was in, we had actually developed and got approval on our budget for the following year by mid-November, if not sooner sometimes, right? It depends on the business. But we had the budget and we knew we were going to spend money on a new marketing automation software, which it was, for us, it was $100,000 software per month. And so, that was a huge spend, a huge investment. We knew we were going to spend it. We started investigating and doing the research on what we wanted in that and talking to people by mid-November. Like, that's when we started. And we knew we had a short window before Christmas hit. And so we were all over that because we wanted to get the most out of that. But that was from the buyer's side. But if the sellers understood that, and they were preemptively promoting their software to businesses like ours, it could have given them a leg up in our mindset and in our decision making.
Yeah, good point. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny during this sort of slowdown in some areas, what I meant with breathing room as well. I mean, some of the people that are deciding how are we going to spend this money may have the, finally the time to really, think about this a little bit more. So I think we've come to the conclusion, Ken, that B2B businesses will be leaving money on the table if they don't get after it. So how can some of them start to prepare for the holiday season now if we've convinced them that, this is important for your business? Go for it.
Well, it all starts with a marketing strategy and a marketing plan. And, if you're trying to, we're a week and a day out from Black Friday. If you're trying to get something ready now for Black Friday, hopefully you already have a previous campaign that you can just copy and replicate and tweak a little bit. You need to allow yourself time. You've got to promote, you've got to hype it, you've got to draw people's interest. You got to make them say, you know what, I can't miss this deal on Black Friday. But here's the reality. Look, most businesses already have natural deadlines that they incentivize customers to buy. A lot of businesses set sales quotas quarterly. And so as a result, there are promotions that are already built for many B2B businesses that are driven around quarterly sales cycles and reporting cycles. Now, for smaller businesses or privately owned businesses, maybe that's not as big a deal, but you should still apply the same concepts to your own business. And so, you got to start early. You got to develop a plan. You got to give yourself, I mean, for any event or anything that you're doing, minimum planning time and execution time and run up time is 6 weeks. And that's bare bones minimum. And that's if you have your proverbial crap together. So, so you got to start early. You got to know what you're trying to accomplish. I'm not a huge fan of discounting or devaluing your services, but you can still use it as a hook to get new clients, because again, as we've talked about so many times on this episode, on this podcast, or what is it, blogcast? Is that what the term we were using? That, it's easier to get a customer to buy from you again. And so if you can get them at some base level plan, one, they're not going with a competitor. Two, you have a good path to get them upsold to the solution that they eventually are going to need, and that they're going to need that. Take advantage of that. As a consumer, I love this time of the year as a B2B buyer, because I've gotten some of the best deals ever on the core business software I use to run my business and the execution of what we do for clients at this time of the year. Ridiculous deals. I mean, and those are grandfathered in, and as long as you keep, keeping the program. So, but you know what? That's good for the business still, because even though they gave me a phenomenal deal, I've referred dozens of people to go purchase that same software because I got such a great deal, and it fits my business to a T. So, you definitely have to plan it and think about the runway for it. You have to, even if you don't have something that you're prepared to sell, or offer as a promotion to get those first new customers, you still should be looking at this from a brand awareness opportunity, because the landscape may be a lot less crowded, as we've talked about. It may be easier to get your message out. A lot of people, unfortunately, I think this is a bad strategy, but a lot of people don't do anything for 2023 until 2023. So use the opportunity now while there's less clutter to maybe get your messaging out there, to start building that relationship. If you can do something to incentivize people to make a fast action, by all means do it. Sometimes, businesses this time of the year, if they need to look at their tax situation, and maybe you need to remind them, look at your tax situation. Does it make sense for you to make an investment now to buy something you're going to need and get it on the books now, because it's going to be favorable from a tax perspective for your business? Just reminding people of those things. We all get busy. People forget about it. A lot of business owners are going to know that, but are they going to remember it? Well, that's your job as when running these promotions, is to help people remember all of the reasons and all of the pain points that they may experience if they don't take action now. So, and as Paul mentioned, in some cases, especially, bigger organizations, some of the money to different divisions is going to go, and it's a use it or lose it kind of scenario for your budget refresh for the upcoming year. So know your clients. If they are in that situation, make it a no-brainer for them to take action and do business with you. So I think, it all requires planning. Omni-channel is the best way to go, as we've talked about, in most cases. But at the same time, if there are very specific channels based on who your ideal customers are, don't be afraid to pull those levers. And even if it's just one or two core channels, it can make a big difference.
Yeah, that's great advice. Absolutely. Ian, why don't we go a little bit more tactical? So B2B holiday content ideas. So if our folks listening are now convinced What are some ideas that they could start to do?
Yeah, yeah. So even things like you could do gift guides, holiday gift guides of your, Ken was talking about buying software apps, right? Do a holiday gift guide of the favorite tools for the business that will help them grow or help them achieve a certain thing. Remember, it's all about them. So always frame it in a way of what the benefit is to that business and also to the person making the decision. Just as kind of a final thought, partner programs have popped up a few times where you might have quotas. Now is the perfect time to remind people of how close they are to achieving quotas, right? And sometimes they might not be aware of how close they are and what the benefit is to them. But things like, do the 12 days of Christmas or, do top 10 of 2022. Could be tips, could be your favorite, podcasts like Marketing Guides for Small Business. Could, industry trends. Now is a fantastic time to be sharing, whether you see this a lot, especially for retailers, but business trends of what's happening pre-holiday season, what's happening in the holiday season, what's happening post-holiday season, right? There's lots to talk about there, but you can do that for any industry. You can share, here's what's happening. Here's how, I think this year in particular, because we're all a little bit more aware of the economy and the pressures on businesses and consumers, right? Like I think there's an opportunity there to even look at some of the nuances of trending that's happening right now related to the economic pressures of inflation and that kind of stuff. Because we're talking specifically about B2B here, but I think that's a real opportunity for people to just share some insights that they might not know about.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Paul, I mean, even if B2B is a little bit businessy and elbows up, there's still room for gratitude and giving back. What are your thoughts on that topic in the B2B scenario?
Yeah, people tend to get all touchy-feely during the holidays for some reason.
I specifically had this question for you.
Group hug for Paul. Everybody just come on in. Let's give him a group hug.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
You got to find him first.
That's right.
But, all jokes aside, that it's true that people do tend to get more charitable during the holidays. So, talk about what you've done, what you've done in the community, and any charitable things you've done. You could run a promotion that says, hey, if you do this or that by this date, we'll give X amount to this charity.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, so I've been told with the younger generation that that's an important thing to them. Don't know if I believe that, but that's what I've been told. So yeah, letting people know what you've done in that, because a lot of times people don't know. If take any big company, Coca-Cola. Can anyone tell me what they've done from a charitable perspective? I'm sure they've done something. I couldn't tell you what they've done. So take the opportunity to point that out to people and let them know that you're not just this cold-hearted business, so to speak, that you do these things.
Those are great ideas. Absolutely.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I mean, somebody who does a great job of that is Subaru. I mean, in their commercials, they draw you in because they're showing you beautiful scenery and they're showing their vehicles driving around in these incredible places. And then they talk about the fact that they are the largest corporate contributor to the national park system in the United States, and they make that part of their messaging, but they've got you because you're watching and looking at it. And if you're like me, it's like, man, I'd love to be driving around in that place right now, so they do find a way to message that and tie that in. And it's not a slimy way that they do it. I mean, I think it's well done. So if you're struggling for an idea about that, I would encourage you to take a look at the Subaru commercials.
Mhm.
And
And
just to
Subaru,
be
you can
clear,
thank me very much for that.
Coca-Cola has taught us how to sing in perfect harmony at Christmas time.
Oh,
So.
here we go. Oh, very good. Ken, if we're moving on, let's pretend we're moving on to the new year, new resolutions, new beginnings, that kind of thing. Give me your opinion on that topic and how a B2B business can use sort of, let's just say they don't feel super comfortable with the holidays, but a new beginning for all of us is something we're all going to go through in 2023. So what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on using that as a jumping off point for their holiday promotions, if you will?
Well, I think that is actually kind of a common thing that a lot of businesses naturally do, whether they realize it or not, is they kind of see a reset and they start a brand new set of marketing initiatives at the beginning of the year. And it is kind of a holiday. I mean, it's like, January is like, we're just, we're coming up out of the holiday season. We're kind of waking up from the slumber, especially toward the end of January and whatnot. And so I think it's an opportunity again for you, because if the businesses didn't make a decision at the end of the year, they're going to be making a decision at the beginning of the year most of the time. Now, again, not every business is aligned, with a calendar year and their fiscal year. So again, you have to think about who is your ideal customer, what is their natural buying cycle, and what is their natural budgetary cycle, because for B2B, that's going to be absolutely critical. So, but again, just like everything, you got to plan it out. You got to think through these things, and really, if for your own business, if you haven't already done it, hopefully by now we've convinced you that it's well worth investing in holiday promotion marketing. And so use the beginning of the year to kind of plan out what you're going to be doing. And if you're not budgeting in quarterly sales goals, start to do that and create programs and incentives and marketing campaigns to support those quarterly, and including special activities around natural drivers for your business. And we're a consumer society. So whether we're buying business to business related services or whether we're buying business to consumer related services, everybody's thinking about buying stuff this time of the year. So so use the opportunity and make a new year resolution that you're going to take advantage of that this year. There's nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, your customers probably expect it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a good point, and as you're thinking through to planning out the new year, I mean, with holidays, we don't just mean the holidays that come around in November and December.
Right.
I mean, this can be a way to, 4th of July, July 1st for Canada Day. Is there any way you can now incorporate that into your marketing? What about Mother's Day, Father's Day, that kind of thing? So there's other holidays throughout the year that you may want to take a fresh look at and see, what, maybe we can work that into our promotions, because I mean, you nailed it there too, because this business buyer who's a human is very much influenced on the consumer side about what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. I think this kind of going back to the question you asked about Ian about B2B holiday ideas and maybe what a B2B, especially, I mean, if you're a business coach or you're a marketing consultant with a smaller firm, you can now is still a great time. And these aren't complex campaigns. And this is something where I think you still have some bandwidth and opportunity to capitalize on. A lot of people, and it frustrates all of us, but a lot of people want to skip past strategy or even the pre-strategy work where the audit work is done. Where you have to understand the lay of the land, what the competitors are doing, this, that, and the other. We've talked about, for all of us, the total online presence audit, is a critical step in creating a marketing strategy. Now is the great time of the year to launch promotions around that, because like you guys have said, there are probably less distractions for the people that, and typically I find that this is one of the best times for us to grow our business because people are available. If you pick up the phone and you call, and you're doing some cold outreach and you're picking up the phone and calling people to do that, I think you're going to be more likely to catch some people now. Are you going to run into some holiday parties and some events that they're doing in their world? Of course you are, but at the same time, they tend to have less distractions. So create something, even if it's get it on the books this year so that they spend money this year so that they get either a tax benefit, they get a jump and a running head start into 2023, or they burn up some budget that they're required to use, that they're looking for ideas. They want to have, they need help because it's like, man, I'm sitting here with a little bit of money. I'm not sure what the best thing to do with it is. Most people don't feel good about just spending money to waste it. They want to try to find a way to invest it. That's our job right now, is to help them figure out smart ways to spend and invest that money. And the more we can make it an investment, the better. And so I think, what I would say right now is a combination of things. Paul talked about it. If somebody who signs up for a total online presence audit now and they get it done before the end of the year, have a charity match. We'll donate $100 to a food bank or something like that. You can do this as a business coach. You can do it as an accountant for B2B, related accountants, for technology companies, for marketing agencies. There are so many different things. And right now is the ideal time to be launching campaigns around, or they should have already been launched, but running the campaign and executing it through the end of the year to get that stuff that everybody finds to be a pain in the ass that they don't really want to spend money on, but they really need to be spending money on. Audit services, technology assessments, marketing assessments and evaluations, planning and strategy work, all ideal times.
Good point.
You might have been able to hear my tickety tack of my keyboard because I was writing a note there to myself. Because as Ken's talking, I was thinking, man, we were talking about content opportunities, and I was like, the top 10 things to use your marketing budget on this holiday season, right? Like, come on, people.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. I was also reminded, Paul touched on this, and we're talking more about promotion and sales, I think, here today, but retention, like, to me, I'm, as a business owner, especially with my existing clients, I'm always looking at how I can grow touch points with them and how I can keep my retention level as high as possible, right? And part of that, of course, for our businesses is producing fantastic results. But the other side of it is the human aspect, where we're just trying to reinforce how great it is that how much we appreciate our customers, our clients, and how great it is to work with them, and that we're great people to work with, right? And what better time than the holiday season to grab a touch point that's just hanging out there for you as a B2B business, reach out to them, maybe send them something nice, something in the holiday spirit, a parka, a toque, an edible gift basket, whatever it is.
Like qualified edible.
Yeah, I was going to say, just
yeah.
Especially in Missouri, since we just passed a law.
Well, send them, send your clients in Florida a snowball because they might not know what that is. The options are endless, guys. Make sure you bag it. Put that snowball in the bag.
Is that the key?
That's right.
Good stuff. Any last thoughts on this topic that we haven't covered yet?
Well, Jen, something you mentioned earlier, we tend to think of holidays like November, December, but there's holidays throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And you can do holiday promotions. If you're a jeweler around, Valentine's Day, you could have a promote. How bad did you piss off your girlfriend? You could have different packages. If you really pissed her off, you can buy this, and if you pissed her off just a little bit, you can buy this. And
it's like a scale. Yeah, they have like a choose where you are on this scale.
Yeah, the PO scale.
On a scale of 1 to 10. But there's holidays
around that and grade people. So.
Go ahead, Paul. You're on a roll.
No, I just said there's holidays throughout the year you can take advantage of.
Yeah.
So don't
And
don't think that it's just this November to December kind of thing.
Well,
yeah.
and that's where marketing strategy and planning and content calendars and all of the stuff that we talk about week in, week out are important, because if you don't do that, it's all of a sudden it's going to be, holy crap, it's 3 weeks out from our biggest natural buying time of the year, and we didn't do anything extra, to try to drive visibility, awareness, sales, whatever's important. So you got to look. It's only going to happen if you plan for it and incorporate that and execute on it. So
Mhm. Yeah, very true. And one thing I was going to say, if you're not sure about this, use it as an opportunity for a test. Just because you roll out some holiday promotions, and it doesn't turn out to be a good fit for you, or for whatever reason you decide not to do it, that's fine. You don't have to keep it up, but at least give it a try, and really do use it as a test, marketing experiment, if you will. With that, hopefully we've convinced the B2B businesses that are listening in to give it a try. Absolutely. And take some of that money off the table that it sounds like that you are leaving. Now, I think this is a good place to wrap up. So thank you very much for joining us today. Please like and share our podcast and subscribe to it and help us get the word out. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.